Good afternoon. Thanks everybody for joining us today to learn a little bit more about our Military Spouse Fellowship Program. My name is Crystal Cochran, and I'll be on hand throughout the session today to manage your incoming questions. We will stop about halfway through Victoria's presentation to be able to answer a few questions, and then we'll stop again at the end. For those of you who haven't already noticed it, or already been on one of our webinars, there is a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. So feel free to post any questions so that we know how we can best answer them for you. I'm thrilled to be able to introduce Victoria Harvey today. Victoria leads our program in San Antonio, and she's a tremendous asset on our team. So with that, I will turn it over. Victoria, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for joining us today for the Military Spouse Fellowship Program done by Hiring Our Heroes. We are just so excited to have you here and hopefully can answer all the questions that you might have about our program. I am the program manager for the Dallas and San Antonio programs in Texas. And I am also a military spouse of 11 years. My spouse is in the Air Force, and I have had the opportunity to live overseas and stateside multiple times, so I understand how difficult it can be to maintain a career while being a military spouse. And so that is why I'm just so excited to be part of this program, because we are trying to help military spouses maintain a really great career as they follow kind of their spouse across the world. So, right, if you'll please go to the next slide, we're just going to jump right on in. All right, so our Hiring Our Heroes Military Spouse Fellowship Program is a first in its class initiative. We are here to help connect career-ready spouses with different meaningful opportunities. And we are just so excited that this exists. I wish that this existed a long time ago, but I'm just so proud that it exists now. We are really here to help military spouses connect, learn, and advance. And what that means is the connection is that networking piece. We all know how important networking is. You hear people talking about networking all the time, to reach out to people, to start those conversations early. The reason for that is the majority of jobs that are filled across the world are done so through networking. I think the statistic is between 70 to 80% of all jobs filled are done so through networking. So thankfully we have programs like LinkedIn that you can get on there and start virtually networking with people. And then you can go to different events around your towns as well to get to know people. But it takes a while to build those networks up, especially if you're brand new to an area. And if you are an active duty military spouse, when you PCS, well, you have to start fresh every single time. So we're here to really try and help kind of get you within your professional kind of little bubble right away. We work with a lot of fantastic companies. We have more companies coming on board all the time. And if you are able to go through our program, you're eligible, you're career ready, we send your information out and a company takes you on as a fellow, well, it allows you to then learn. You utilize the skills you already possess. You are going to be able to learn new skills. You're going to be able to job shadow, really learn that job, prove yourself, get to network within that company, and really learn that organization. So that's the learning piece. And also, your program manager is going to be sharing a lot of resources of different organizations that exist and different programs that exist for military spouses and just professionals in general to really help you stay that perpetual learner, to really be on top of your game in your professional life. And then the advancing piece. And this is one of my favorite things of our program is we do have all these amazing host companies that understand the value of a military spouse and all that we have to bring. We are an incredibly large group of highly educated individuals that are very adaptable, willing to jump in where it's needed, A lot of times we tend to be fiercely loyal when a company gives us the opportunity to really prove ourselves to them. So with our program, your resume is put directly in front of the hiring team's eyes. You don't have to go through their websites and apply to different positions. They're going to see your resume. They're going to be looking to fill different positions that they either have currently available or will have available in the near future. And they're going to see if you happen to have the skill sets that they're looking for, but they're going to be able to really get their hands on your resume right away and see if it's a good fit. So that's that advanced part, is that you get to move past that online application. And not only are we here to help military spouses, but Hiring Our Heroes is part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. So we're also here to help companies, and we are sending them an incredible pipeline of talent. And the companies that have been on board so far have been incredibly pleased and realized that military spouses are an incredible pool that they really need to take advantage of. And we have been able to help kind of bridge that, and we are very excited about it. And a big reason that this program also exists is that military spouses as a whole have a very high unemployment rate. We hover around 24% unemployment. So we're definitely trying our best to help lower that. I know that this is becoming an issue that is being taken on by multiple different organizations and individuals, which is so heartwarming to see. And we really do help with that. And also not only unemployment, but also underemployment, which we know tends to be a very big problem with the military spouse community as well. Next slide, please. All right, so let me give you a little bit of history about our program. So Hiring Our Heroes has another program called the Corporate Fellowship Program that helps transitioning service members that are either separating or retiring out of the military. And it has been such a success, and that's been going on for several years. It came about to help lower the unemployment rate for veterans. That program, along with many other fantastic organizations and programs out there, have been very successful and have actually lowered the unemployment rate. And that has just been so great to see. Well, Hiring Our Heroes then started looking further at the military community. And they said, you know what? We can do more than just helping our transitioning service members and veterans as well. Our military spouses need help. And so why don't we take this awesome product that we already have in place, change it a little bit, and make it available to military spouses? Well, thanks to a grant in Maryland in 2017, a pilot program was able to be stood up, and it went really well, straight out of the gate. Our program manager there just did a phenomenal job, and within 18 months, was able to place 130 military spouses in fellowships within 50 different companies just in the Maryland area. And those 130 fellows at the end of their fellowships came out to have about an 85% offer rate, which is so cool. So thanks to the success of that pilot, other companies saw the value and decided to help the program grow. And they did end up sponsoring us. So in 2019, we were then in 4 different locations. And now in 2020, we have grown to 8 different locations. We are still in Maryland. We're in the Northern Virginia and DC area. We are in Tampa, Florida, Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Colorado Springs, Colorado, San Diego, California, and Honolulu, Hawaii. So it is very exciting to already be in 8 locations, and we've been able to help 250 military spouses through fellowship opportunities. We are very much looking forward to growing that number of military spouses that come through our programs. And so we will see how it goes, but we really hope that if you're interested, that you go ahead and apply and join us. All right, next slide, please. All right, so how does this work? Well, our program managers do a lot of recruiting. We recruit military spouses through workshops like this, where you're getting information. And we might have spouses all across the world joining us today, which would be so exciting. But if you are moving to one of our locations, one of our 8 locations in the next couple of years or months, or if you're already in one of our locations, well, then definitely please look into our program. We recruit through different events around town. We recruit very heavily within our military spouse professional networks, which are a fantastic resource for you. We also recruit companies. We're always looking to add more and more companies that are willing to possibly take on military spouse fellows. One big piece to our company recruitment is actually through the help of our military spouse economic empowerment zones, which are these great groups of individuals in different areas and cities across the US and actually full states nowadays that are really there to help push the cause of military spouse employment. And we're so thankful to them. So through this recruitment, if you're a military spouse or you know of a military spouse that could take advantage of this program, please have them go to our website and go ahead and apply. The application is very easy to begin with, but that's just the initial application. There will be next steps. So please make sure that you check your inbox within about 72 hours of applying, because a program manager will have reached out to you to let you know what we're expecting from you next. We need a few documents, and we'll also be setting up interviews. We're going to make sure that you're eligible for our program, and I'll speak to eligibility in a little bit. And we're also going to make sure that you are indeed career ready. So please make sure that you know kind of what type of role you're looking for. Are you looking for an IT role? Are you looking for human resources? Are you looking to become a trainer? That way we can really best highlight you to our host companies. And it is also easier for the companies to know what you're looking for instead of just figuring out where they can place you. Once we find out if you're eligible and we'll move through our program, then we do what is called a resume release, where we send our resumes to all the companies that are interested in possibly hosting a military spouse fellow. We, the program managers, do not decide which company gets to see which fellow. They get to see all of them and decide from there, okay, we have these positions open currently or will be open in the near future. Who may have the skill set that matches? And if you have the skill set that they're looking for, they're going to reach out to you directly. This interview period between candidates and our host companies lasts about a month. So they will directly contact you and set up that interview. And then I ask, and my other program manager colleagues ask you to keep in touch with us throughout the whole process to let us know who's been reaching out to you so that we can stay on top of everything and make sure you don't miss out on any opportunities. And then at the end of that interview window, we ask you to send us a list back and say, okay, out of anybody that you've interviewed with, which positions intrigued you? And then go ahead and rack and stack them in the order that you'd be interested in having a fellowship, if any of them are also interested in you. We then go back to our host companies and we ask them the same thing. Out of everybody you've interviewed, did anybody fit the requirements you're looking for? And if so, who are they? And we ask them if they have multiple candidates, if they can also list them as well. So if there happens to be a match on the host company side and the candidate side, then we can go ahead and select you all to follow through for a fellowship, which would be very exciting. We will then reach out to the candidates and say, congratulations, this host company is very interested in hosting you for a fellowship. Are you interested? And if the candidate says yes, at that point, they will officially become a fellow of our program. and then that rolls right into our fellowship. So our fellowships are 6 weeks long. You would be with the host companies Monday through Thursdays for their work hours, so 8 hours a day. And then on Fridays, all fellows get together for what we call fellowship huddles. So our 6-week fellowships are paid. They're paid $15 an hour, up to 32 hours a week. It's free for the host company to participate. These stipends are thanks to our scholarships that have been given by our sponsors. And so we are very thankful for them, and definitely are just excited that this is a great experience for our fellows to not just learn something new, but with the possibility of employment at the end of their fellowship. All right, next slide, please. So these are some examples of the fellowship roles that have already been filled by our fellows. As I shared, we've had 250 mil spouses go through, and we have had lots of different roles filled, but this is just a small taste for you. These roles have been entry level all the way to seasoned professionals. Okay, we get all different kinds of levels coming through our program. We have had lawyers and paralegals, CPAs and accountants, program and project managers, human resources, healthcare administrators, individuals within IT, and we all know IT is a huge world within itself. We have had content developers, marketing specialists, event coordinators, administrative and executive assistants. We have had so many. So if you're interested in this program and you have certain skills, well, then please get in touch with the program managers and let us know clearly through your cover letters, through your resume, what it is you're looking for. And we can always let you know if there's that opportunity within our 8 different locations. All right, next slide, please. So I mentioned that for our 6 weeks, Monday through Thursdays, our fellows are with our host companies. So you are learning on the job. You are not only learning the job itself, but you're learning about that organization, that company, about all the different people that work there. We really want you to network within those organizations, get to know people, find out about everything they've got going on. But of course, also proving yourself for that particular role and seeing what is needed from the host managers to really allow you and the company to decide over 6 weeks if it's a good fit on both sides. Well, then on Fridays, we get all our fellows together, and our fellowship huddles are some of my favorite parts of our program. Honestly, it's my favorite day of the week when our fellowships are running. The reason for that is we get our fellows together either in person or virtually, and we always set aside a time where it is only the fellows and the program manager. The reason for this is we like to go over how the week went, what lessons learned, wins, things that might not have gone so well, maybe some frustrations, because you're not going through this program alone. We're not just sending you out there and saying, okay, make do. You have a team standing behind you, here to help you and support you. And a lot of times when we hear how things are going for our other fellows, it can be a really good learning point. And also some suggestions that come out from definitely frustrations have really helped turn people's fellowships completely around for the good. Not only do we have that time together, we will then have a speaker come and join us. And these speakers come from different companies, from different industries. And of course, they'll talk about their background. They'll tell you about their company, which is really good. Again, this is the networking piece of our program, because you're getting to network within the company that you are doing a fellowship with, but you're also getting to network with at least 5 to 6 other companies as well during your period. And you never know where those conversations can lead, and you always learn something new. And not only do they talk about their professional backgrounds and their companies, but we do also ask them to help us with our professional development, which is another really strong piece of our fellowship program. Is we're trying to help all individuals, either entry level and even seasoned professionals, learn something new. And I know every Friday I personally learn something new. And we ask them to go over different topics, and you'll see some of these topics listed on your screen here. We have interview skills, how to market yourself, salary negotiations, strategic communication within the workplace, and so many other things. So it really is a really good way to kind of work on your professional development as well. So I know I have thrown a lot at you already, and there's more to come. But right now, I would like us to take a pause to answer some questions. And I know Crystal is going to be joining me to help answer these questions as well. If you have any questions at the bottom of your screen, there's that Q&A button. Go ahead and click that. You can type up any questions you have, and we'll be able to see them and go ahead and answer them. So Crystal, do we actually have any questions already?
Hi, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. We do have a few questions, and they're good questions. I'm excited. Okay, so the first one is, you note that the fellowships are paid. Is that similar to an internship? Does the company pay, or does HOH pay?
That's a great question. So it's actually done through a third party, and we work with an agency that will get all of your information, and you'll put your hours in at the end of every week, and then your program manager will approve them. So your host company doesn't have to take notes on your hours or input any of that information. You will go ahead and put that in online. Your program manager will approve it, and then our third party will go ahead and send you a check the next week for that stipend.
Great. Thanks, Victoria. Next is from Tracy. Will upcoming cohorts be remote?
Great question. Very good question. So with the state of the world and everything that's going on nowadays, a lot of this newer cohorts that are going through are going to be a little more remote, yes. But the intent is really for you to be looking for a job within that area of where our programs are located. So we're not going to be able to do remote programs across the world. We just don't have the bandwidth to do that. But currently, a lot of companies have had to go virtual. So they are looking for people that are pretty flexible and are willing to maybe work from home some, maybe go into the office when things get cleared and our world gets a little healthier. So right now, we are currently doing some remote positions, again, in the cities, though, that our programs are located. And we will just work with companies and see what their needs are for the upcoming weeks and months ahead.
So the next question is from Emerald, and her question is essentially that she lives in Northern California, and is there an opportunity for her to be able to participate in the program?
So that's a very good question. Thank you for asking it. We really need you to have the intent of working in the area where our fellowship programs are. So if you're currently in Northern California, but you have PCS orders to, let's say, Tampa, Florida, you can already apply to our program before arriving in Florida and get that ball rolling. So then you can be placed in a cohort that will work best towards the earlier side of your arrival, and you could hopefully just jump into a fellowship, which hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well, will turn into full-time employment. But we can't allow you to come to one of our fellowships, just do the 6 weeks in one location, and then go back up to, let's say you're staying in Northern California, because that's home for life. We really do need you to want to be in the area where our fellowships take place.
Thanks, Victoria. I have a couple more questions coming in, but I want to pause to let you maybe go through some more of the slides. I have a feeling you might be answering some of these. And then for everybody out there, we'll stop again at the end to answer questions.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, next slide, please. All right, so these are just a handful of our host companies. We are in 8 locations. Every location has different host companies. Some of these companies, though, are in multiple locations. So there may be some names here that you recognize. Accenture Federal Services, Amazon, Booz Allen Hamilton, the City of San Antonio, Lockheed Martin, MGM Resorts, USAA, Volkswagen, again, just to name a few. Every location has different companies. We are always adding to the list. I know my colleagues and I are always sharing with one another that maybe halfway through our interview windows, that month-long period, we have new companies coming on board and we always get so excited. So the list is growing. Please definitely get in touch with our different program managers and we can let you know what companies are in each area. All right, next slide, please. So I'd already shared our locations. I wanted to share them again. And I also would like to introduce my colleagues, the different program managers that we have in all different locations. So we are still in Maryland and thriving, and we have Calvin Solip that is up there. Then in the Northern Virginia, DC area, we have Lauren Monelly, who's our program manager. Our program manager for Tampa, Florida is Alexander Johnston. For Dallas and San Antonio, Texas, that would be myself, Victoria Harvey. In Colorado Springs, Colorado, we have Nicole Holling. In San Diego, California, we have Melinda Gomez. And then in Honolulu, Hawaii, we have Elizabeth Garcia. We also have an incredible colleague that helps us as well. Her name is Stephanie Murphy. And of course, you've met Crystal, who is our program director. So you have a team of individuals that are here to help you, along with many other colleagues that we have that offer different opportunities as well through Hiring Our Heroes. And I'll go over some of those towards the end. All right, next slide, please. So our upcoming dates. So every location, all 8 locations will have 3 cohorts a year. The next cohort that is open for applications now is going to be the 3rd cohort of 2020. And that's the one that you see here called cohort 3 under 2020. It will run August 31st to October 9th. And the application deadline is June 26th. Like I shared, we do have next steps past your initial application. So please be on the lookout for an email, usually within about 72 hours from one of the program managers. If you haven't received an email, then there may have been a typo in your email address, so you can try again as well. Now, if you are in the Maryland, Northern Virginia, DC area, or San Antonio, we actually have an additional 3 cohorts a year. So we have 6 cohorts a year. But across the board, there's always going to be 3, and the next one for all locations will be cohort 3. And the application deadline for that is June 26th. Again, feel free to apply in advance and please check your spam folders because a lot of times our initial emails to you will end up in spam. To apply, our website is there. It's hiringourheroes.org/fellowships. When you go to that page, you will then see military spouse fellowship programs. You can go ahead and apply to whichever location works for you. Okay, next steps, please. So the big question, who is eligible? Well, as I've shared, our fellows that have come through this program have been entry level to seasoned professionals. We have individuals that just had a move and they just want to jump right back into the workforce. We have individuals that have had to take a break between employment for various reasons. We have new graduates that come through our programs as well. We have all different kinds. What we ask though is that you need to be a military spouse. And for Hiring Our Heroes, military spouse means that if you have ever worn the title of military spouse in your lifetime, then you can apply to our program. So you can be tied an active duty member, somebody that is active guard or reserves, somebody that has separated or retired already. So again, if you've ever been a military spouse, then you can come through our program. You do need to be available to work and seek employment in the area of our programs. You also need to be available to attend all our classroom sessions, and those are our Friday huddles. And when they're in person, they tend to be in a different location every week. And you also need to be able to get yourself to the host company for your Monday through Thursday portions. We do ask that you have at least an associate's degree and or years of work experience that we can work off of. And you also need to be eligible to work within the United States without needing sponsorship. Again, to apply, you just go to our website, hiringourheroes.org/fellowship, and you'll see our Military Spouse Fellowship, and you can go ahead and apply there. All right, next slide, please. So that's a little bit about our program. This is, well, these are a few of the quotes that we've had from people that have come through the program. We have been really lucky to work with some incredible spouses. We are still sitting at a 85% offer rate, even with 250 fellows, which is so great. And we really are looking so forward to working with more individuals as this program goes on. And we really hope that a lot of you that are sitting with us today will be able to join us. All right, next slide, please. Now, before we go to our last question period and kind of wrap things up, I had mentioned that we offer different programs within Hiring Our Heroes to also help our military spouses. And these are some of them, and I'd like to take a minute to talk about them because I love them. So our first one is Amplify. Amplify is this really fantastic 2-day career intensive workshop for military spouses. And it is led by Brian Alvarado, who is also a military spouse, and he really knows what he's talking about and puts on such a fantastic program. Amplify will pop up in multiple places across the country. So please definitely go to our website when you get the opportunity. You can just go to hiringourheroes.org. And on our homepage, if you scroll down, there's an events button. If you click that, you'll see all our upcoming events. Well, with the state of the world now, a lot of in-person events have had to be postponed. So Brian has taken Amplify virtual. The very first virtual Amplify is actually wrapping up today. It started yesterday, but he has 2 more coming, one in May and one in June. And the dates are May 28th through the 29th and June 29th through the 30th. So if you know that you're interested, no matter where you are in the world, please go ahead and go to our homepage, hiringourheroes.org, scroll down. You will see the events tab and you can find the 2 Amplifies. The registration is already open. There is limited seating, so definitely please go ahead and jump in if you can. The next thing I'd like to talk about, and I mentioned them briefly earlier, is our military spouse professional networks. Personally, this professional network part of our programming has been a lifeline. I love it because it is a community of professionals that happen to be military spouses, people that understand our lifestyle. And it is a great way to network, to find out about opportunities for additional professional development. We now have 60 chapters worldwide, not just in the US. So if we have anybody here that's overseas, please go to our website, look up our military spouse professional networks, and you'll be able to see all our chapters listed. Most chapters have a Facebook and LinkedIn group. So if you're on both of those platforms, I would recommend joining both because a lot of information is different depending on the platform. And also our chapter leads, which are run by volunteers, by the way. So if you're ever interested in volunteering, please definitely reach out and we can get you with our program manager for that. Also offer monthly get-togethers and sometimes do virtual trainings as well. So there's a lot going on. And if you are moving, please look for a chapter where you are moving to in advance. Get plugged into that network well in advance, and you're going to be able to have kind of a tribe of people waiting for you, which is great. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our grassroots recruitment opportunity workshops. These workshops are usually a day long. They pop up all over the place too. I did see that we actually have one coming up, I believe in June. So you can go to our events calendar and see that as well. But our GROW events is what they're called, is a really great way for military spouses to engage with employers. And our program manager for that will set up employer panels and also workshops. And they will even sometimes have hiring fairs specifically for military spouses with companies that want to hire and sometimes do hiring on the spot. So please be on the lookout for those. And then the last thing I'd like to mention that we offer specifically for military spouses and anybody else in the military community, so please share this far and wide. We just launched a few weeks ago our career community, which is a virtual workshop kind of super center is the best way I can put it. Monday through Fridays, our amazing comms team is putting together multiple workshops a day that are going to help you as professionals in multiple different facets. So on Mondays, we call those our motivational Mondays, and you'll have motivational speakers, and we have had some incredible ones, speakers come on. So I really recommend that. On Tuesdays, they're called our Transition Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we have our Wellness Days. There's one wellness workshop I would recommend for everybody participating in this one today called the Balance Workshop that Starbucks is helping us with. It's really great. It's happening every Wednesday, so definitely get on that. Then on Thursdays, we have Transition Thursdays, and on Fridays, it's our Feature Friday. So we have different things going on all the time. We have different industries speaking to us. We have different companies speaking to us. And all of these workshops are being recorded. So you can go to our career community page on our website and you will find all the recordings. So if you can't attend in person, then you can rewatch it at your own leisure. You'll also find it, if you don't want to go to our website, on our YouTube channel, which is Hiring Our Heroes. That's just the name of our channel. And you'll see all the videos placed there as well. All right. One class that is happening next week, it just went live this morning, I think it's going to be next Tuesday, is we are going to be having a salary negotiating class that is going to be led by one of my colleagues, Lauren Monley, and I know that is going to be a really, really good one. So I definitely recommend that if anybody's interested in that, that you get in on that, because the speaker that is doing that with her is really so knowledgeable and shares fantastic information. All right, next slide, please. So I told you that this program is thanks to sponsors, and these are some of our sponsors that we have been very fortunate to have support this program and support military spouses. So thank you so much to all our sponsors. All right, next slide. Well, that's the end of the presentation. So if this program works for you, if you are eligible to apply, you already are in one of our areas or you'll be moving to one of our areas, please go ahead and go to our website, hiringourheroes.org/fellowships. You will then find the military spouse one. We have all our upcoming dates there, so you can decide which ones work for you. Feel free to apply. Then you'll be able to interact with all of the program managers and we can answer all the questions for you. Again, if you have additional questions now, feel free to ask them in the Q&A as well. But thank you so much for joining us. And Crystal, what questions do we have, please?
You've got me so excited about the program that I'm ready to apply. And I'll give a second plug as well before I get started to say our salary negotiation techniques webinar next Tuesday at 1 o'clock is going to be a fantastic one. Our manager, Lauren Monley, is going to be providing that along with a very good friend of the program, Tom Downs. And so we're really excited about it. We have some really good questions, so let me kick them off.
Okay.
The application, this is from Christina, by the way. The application asks for a civilian resume, but can experience like FRG treasurer, etc., be converted and accepted as civilian experience?
Yes, absolutely. If your experience, paid or unpaid, actually goes towards the sort of job that you are seeking, please include that in your resume because that is actual work experience. So if you have led programs, you have led volunteers, you've been in charge of budgets or anything of that, please make sure it's on your resume. It does have to be limited to 2 pages though, all right? But definitely include that.
Great. Okay, one from Damali. Would having a work gap affect our chances with the fellowships?
Great question. So we have had multiple fellows that have had large work gaps. Personally, the largest work gap I've worked with was 14 years. But the individual that came through and she did go through our entire program, got a job offer and everything, she had been active with her volunteer work. And so we were able to supplement her resume like that as well. And if any of you have gaps because of education, that fills that gap up. So we can definitely work with you and see how we can definitely spin your resumes in a positive light to highlight the skill sets that you have to offer.
Okay, our next question is, do cohort 3 applicants need to wait until the deadline of June 26th for the whole matching process to start? And then there's a follow-on question with that, which is how soon before the start of the fellowship do spouses get to know if they are going to have a position or a role?
Very good question. So we do ask you to apply in advance. And so for cohort 3, the deadline is June 26th. Right after that, less than a week, we do our resume release. So you'll have about a month during that time period to have interviews with companies. And then we have a little bit of time to actually put you all in fellowships. So if you're placed in a fellowship, you typically know a good 2 to 3 weeks out from the start of the fellowship if you're going to have a match. Now, I will tell you that we have had some last minute matches made. Maybe a new company comes in or a company that's already part of our program says, wait a second, we actually have a new position. Is so-and-so still available? So some people might find out a little later, but we do tend to have those matches made at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance.
Okay. The next question, are we able to find other companies to be able to participate in the program?
Absolutely. So if you're interested in already knowing the companies that are within the different programs, please feel free to reach out to the different program managers. You can find us all on LinkedIn, or again, you can go through the application page on our website. And once we send you an email, then you can start asking us questions. But should you happen to know of companies that may also want to join us, please send them our way as well, because we are always looking for great new companies to add to our organization and our partners.
Our next question, which I'm very excited about, is can you provide an idea of the hire rate post-fellowship?
That's a good one. Crystal, I'm actually going to let you take this one because I'm terrible with numbers.
So I'm glad to. As Victoria mentioned early on in the presentation, we had the opportunity to pilot this program in the state of Maryland with a workforce development partners there, and then stood it up officially last summer. And so now we're really starting to get to the point where we have some statistics behind us to start to show for. So I'll tell you that we've had over 250 fellows participate in the program, and the job offer rate is sitting right at around 85%. So I'm incredibly proud, especially because as military spouses, sometimes it's just a challenge to get your foot in the door. And what that 85% tells me unquestionably is that once military spouses have their foot in the door and have an introduction, they prove that they are a wanted, valuable asset on every team that they're serving on.
Absolutely. And I do want to piggyback off of that. Sometimes the fellowship doesn't work. There's no guarantee of employment at the end of it. This, again, is a trial period for not only the company, but for you as well. And if fellows feel that that's not a right fit, or they shouldn't, if they don't get an offer at the end, your program manager is still here to help you. We always do at least 3 months after the end of the fellowship to help our candidates get through and possibly find other jobs out there. But we are here to help you. And we're always asking you to continually apply and letting us know who you're applying to, because within our own personal networks, we might know people within the organizations that you're interested in, and they might not be a host company, but we still have good ties with them. So we're still here to help even past the fellowship if you need us.
Thanks, Victoria. So Tracy asks, could you please repeat the program manager list per location?
Sure.
And Brett, if you can help us get back there, that will be great.
Not a problem. So in Maryland, you have Calvin Soul, and you spell his last name Sowell. In the Northern Virginia, DC area, you have Lauren Monnelly, Monnelly. Then in Tampa, Florida, you have Alexandra Johnston, and Alexandra spells her name with a K, not an X. Then for Dallas and San Antonio, that would be myself, Victoria Harvey. In Colorado Springs, you have Nicole Holling, Holling. In San Diego, you have Melinda Gomez. And then in Honolulu, Hawaii, you have Elizabeth Garcia. So hopefully that was helpful. And feel free to ask away. I'm sure we could type it up in the chat if we need to.
I think we got it. And I'll also add that it's found on our website at www.hiringourheroes.org/fellowships. And you can find all of the program points of contact there. So again, that's hiringourheroes.org/fellowships.
Yep.
Let me see, we had so many questions come in. Can I contact Victoria after the presentation, and what would be the best way to do it?
Yes, absolutely. You can get me on LinkedIn if you want. And also, as Crystal just shared, feel free to look us up on the website, and I would love to be in contact with you.
Okay, I think we just have one more question, and that's probably more one for me. And the question is, what can you tell us about the Military Spouse Employment Summit? So we did have the summit scheduled for this spring, and given the current situation, it's been postponed. It's currently been postponed until September, on September 17th. And the team is working steadily to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. But at the moment, it's been postponed until September 17th. For those of you who don't know, that's an annual event. We're really able to bring together thought leaders in the military spouse employment space and learn about what everybody is up to currently, what are the best, most effective routes to get more military spouses employed effectively, and learn the paths to do that. So thanks for asking about that, Tracy. Okay, I think we've covered all of the questions from the chat and the Q&A.
Nice. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Crystal, thank you so much for fielding all those questions. I really appreciate it. And Brett for being our amazing behind the scenes. But thank you for your time. And again, if you have any interest in our program, please go to our website, reach out to us, let us know. And if you can't take advantage of it, please share it with other military spouses that you may know of, or maybe companies that you know of may be interested in hosting in our different locations. But I hope you all stay safe and have a great day.